The drums of war. The flash of steel. The flip-flops of destiny.
We be going to the dark below.
The Dark Below, the brand new expansion by Blizzard Entertainment, featuring 12 underwater zones, over 5,000 daily quest hubs, and more f***ing pandas. In 2014, grab your swim trunks because the water is to die for. Featuring 2 new playable races, the Naga and the Murloc. 2 brand new raids with 45 bosses each. Fine-tune your character even more with fishing and archaeology, and level cap raised to 125. Next winter,
That is a big jellyfish.
hold on to your fro for the Dark Below. The Dark Below.
Hey, Colt.
What?
That's the old script.
Wait, what? What?
It's the Warlords of Draenor now, or Draenor.
Well, what did I say?
You said Dark Below.
Oh, well, what the heck, man? I mean, I just read this. Now it's Warlords of Draenor?
Draenor.
Yeah, whatevs, Pat. I'm in a GTFO in my trailer. That doesn't make sense.
Oh boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft. Special Blizzcon 2013 edition. With your host, Pat Crane. Starring Dairies. And I'm Koltrane. With special appearances from Chris Metzen, Ian Hazakostis, and Greg Street. Prepare yourselves for adventure and all the freshest information direct from Blizzcon 2013 and beyond. It's everything you'd expect from a World of Warcraft podcast with a dash of awesome sauce. It's time to convert to raid, and now, here's Zhug.
Welcome to the big show, everybody. Welcome to the big show. Oh, the big BlizzCon show, man. I tell you,
BlizzCon, baby.
The post-BlizzCon show. Hi, everybody. My name's Pat Crane, and welcome to the Convert to Raid big show. Now on GameBreaker.tv.
Woo!
Look at that. And
Look at that.
of course, let me introduce the fellas here. We have Dairies and Koltrane on the show. Hello, guys.
Hello. I have a classic old fortune cookie.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's an oldie but a goodie.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Fortune cookies say,
Oh, boy.
a group of Tauren running across Mulgore are called steaks on a plane. What? They're steaks.
God.
I still
Not
don't.
snakes.
I still don't like
It
that.
wasn't good the first time.
I still
you
don't
did
like that.
it. Worse the second time.
Steaks on a plane.
I still don't like it.
It's a classic.
No.
Just because it's old doesn't make it a classic, and it
Oh,
definitely
it's a
doesn't make it any
classic.
better.
Come on.
It's
That was sent in from Rhett, Warlock from Airy Peak, and Convert to Raid Shop.
Ah,
An oldie but a goodie.
no.
That's right.
No. It's no good. It's no good. I don't like it. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for your participation as always. And welcome to the show, guys. And if you guys are watching us on GameBreaker right now, this is the first time that we've appeared on GameBreaker. And we're doing the video show on GameBreaker. You can still get the audio podcast the same old way through iTunes and so on and so forth. But we're going to be doing the live show on GameBreaker, and it's going to be available for you there too. So if you want the video, you can go over to GameBreaker.tv and look us up by name. That's it.
There
right?
it is.
So, guys, big BlizzCon return. The return from BlizzCon, I should say. Are you guys all rested?
No, I got sick. I got
me too.
what do you call it? The Con Crud? That's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, Con
I
Crud.
got the
name is that?
BlizzCon plague.
Right. I got the BlizzCon plague.
Yeah, it
But
really
I'm feeling much better now.
good. Yeah, I know that I had that as well. Like, I think it hit me on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and I was just like out of it, just like completely out of it, and I couldn't even think. It was not good. It was not good.
I could feel it when I woke up Monday morning. I could feel it coming on, and that's you get that ominous feeling like, oh, I'm gonna get sick. I'm gonna get sick.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday it hits like a train, right? like a coal train.
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
That's
Boo.
right.
Boo.
A big tip for everyone that goes to BlizzCon. The three of us, we didn't know. It was Zhug and I. It was our first time. When you meet people, don't lick them. It's
that's highly inappropriate.
Yeah. And it just leads to a lot of sickness.
You don't think about that right away.
No.
Right.
I mean,
no, there's a time and a place for everything. But the party, we had this amazing CTR party.
Oh, it was so cool
on Friday night. That was unbelievable.
It was so cool.
And how many people did we have come through?
We
10,
had
11 people. I think.
it was like 5 or 6. No, it was the count that was given to me was just under 1,000. 1,000 people came through the door and really heated that place up. Oh boy.
Oh yeah. The room was meant for like 100 people at most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It was really warm in there.
Oh yeah.
But it was so much fun. I mean, it was really cool. So if you guys didn't know, on Friday at BlizzCon we had our party at the Hilton on the 4th level, and it was this nicely sized room, and everybody came. It was weird. Like the guys, like Blatty was there from Method, and
Blatty
and Zoomkins from Blood Legion, and Infinity was there, and I met Swifty and Hotted, and like all these big PvP guys. I'm like, don't you know that we only PvE on this show? You're not welcome. You're not welcome at all.
You did. You booted them out quickly. Like, get out of here.
And Helenka came by, and I kicked him out too. So get out.
Trekkie from Method was there.
Yeah, Trekkie was there, and it was
all these like,
was
pro
there
players showed up. Plus, a lot of devs also made an appearance.
Yeah, I mean,
which was incredible. Like Ian Hazakostas showed up, and this poor guy, because that day he had just announced 20-man mythic rating,
right?
And that was it. And the way it was announced the first day was like, oh, so there's this, oh, and there's a 20-man mythic rating. Peace, I'm out. And then like, that was it, and then just move on. So he got like hammered. Like everybody jumped on top of him.
The first corner is how far he made it into the room, and there's just this mob of people around him and a dog.
Yes,
poor guy.
And a dog.
And a dog.
And a dog, a service dog. Dino was all over the place. It was really funny actually, because so there were a bunch of guildies there as well. From the big Convert to Raid guild. And so it was really great meeting all you guys. And thank you. By the way, special thanks to all those that helped out. And I'm sorry if I forget your name here, but I do want to thank Spencer and Robin and Lou and her dog Dino, who were there. Jules from Torrent Think Tank and Arcane. Torrentine from the Asparagus Initiative, our raid team. And Elite Noob was at the door like the entire night. And he was working hard. So thank you very much, Noob. Wyatt, Megacode, Belschnickel and Shal. Belschnickel and Shal. That's what I'm saying right now. My S's are gone now. No, Belschnickel and Sal from the Converted podcast as well were doing a great job. That
was amazing.
They were interviewing people left and right.
Yeah.
For their show.
For me, well, and just for everybody, it's great. Like, you see their Twitter profiles like kind of come to life. Like, you meet so many people. It's unbelievable. And like, I recognize them, like, oh, I know you. Like, I know your name, and you're this little pixel, and now you're a real person. And it was great, like, hearing these stories. There's this girl. So about a year and a half ago, there was this girl named Chloe, and she tweeted this picture, and it's a picture of her. I think she was like about 7 years old, with a sign that said "Stinky Mage Pants." And for those that don't know, if you go back to an old episode of ours called Legendary, that's what Stinky Mage Pants is from. So anyway, I got to meet her parents at the at BlizzCon. So it was amazing, and I met so many interesting people. There was a couple that every Friday they go to their chiropractor and they play their chiropractor the fortune cookie.
Oh God.
So yes. And apparently he likes them. So I'm just gonna say that. So big shout out to the chiropractor, because it was a wonderful couple. Also met Zoosh. It was kind of interesting. So he's a Fury warrior,
and he's from Big Crits. And Big Crits is an awesome kind of reality show about raiding. And if you guys aren't checking it out, you really, really should. And so I met him and his cousin. And what's interesting is Zoosh, he's like this hardcore Fury Warrior. He agrees with everything Dairies says, but his cousin agrees with everything that I say.
So his cousin's always wrong.
Right? No, that means, but it's good. It's like different opinions on everything. But it was amazing getting to meet everyone. If I start naming all these names, I know I'm going to leave somebody out.
So many people.
Just incredible. It was so incredible getting to see everybody, and a lot of the spicy water was flowing in a big way.
Yes, it was. Go ahead.
We had a plate full of bat guano cookies that someone had brought that were delicious.
That was amazing.
They were so good. And someone brought me a paper bag full of bat guano. I don't know where the bag went to, but it's got the icon and the stats printed out on the side. That was the greatest thing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
That was
and it was
so many.
And it was like filled with candy, right? So
yeah, I was filled with candy. It wasn't actually bat guano, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
It was great. But it's so amazing getting to meet everyone in the community, fellow podcasters. Got to meet Bitter and Salty and Ro and Medros and everybody, Haster. And just getting to see everyone and get to meet everyone. And look, we're all nerds. We all share this same love for this game and for everything nerd. And it was just great being able to all be together. So.
And great. for a first time event, for that one event, it was so weird. It was so bizarre for me because I think I was the one who broke the microphone silence first, and I said, "Welcome home, Raiders." And everybody turned to me, and I just went, "Oh my God!" Like 200 people just went whoop right to me, and I went, "Oh shh."
Right.
I won't finish
Holy
that.
shnikes.
Holy shnikes! That was a little. It was intimidating. It was weird.
Right.
And I was kind of overcome with emotion too because I'm like, oh my God, like 200 people just turned and said, "What are you gonna do?" Time to put on a show, I guess. Let's do this thing. So no, but it was a lot of fun, and it was great just hanging out with everybody and meeting everybody, and thank you. If you came to the party, thank you very much. It was a great time and great weekend overall. I mean, how many thousands of people did I meet? It was it was so cool.
Everywhere you went, just so many interesting people to meet, so many new faces, so many hands to shake. It was
and everyone had their own kind of different story. You know what I mean, about something that maybe they listen to CTR, it helps them get through the day. They're having a rough day at work, this or that. I met two guys in Michigan who work construction. They hit play at the same time so they can both enjoy their show at the same time while they're working construction. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Met Demonic Rick. I mean, everybody. Ashanka, Blazin, he got me pretty wasted.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good time.
Lots of drinks were flowing. That's all.
The hotel made quite a bit of money that night.
Oh yeah,
I don't know who it was. Somebody said, "Here, I got you a Coke," and I drank it, and I took a huge gulp, thinking it was Coke, but it was a Long Island iced tea. I was like, whoa! So that was interesting. But
it was
it was a great time.
Yeah, and if you were looking for me and you didn't find me, I'm sorry. Maybe next year. Hopefully next year we'll have another BlizzCon. And if there is another BlizzCon, I would suggest that please save up your pennies and nickels and dimes and so forth and come on out, even if you don't have a ticket. Because that was like the after parties were awesome. The just meeting everybody around the building was great. You can get and then you can get a virtual ticket and watch the show. If you need to skimp on something, the ticket is the thing that you skimp on. Not the rest of the trip.
Right. It's a funny thing. It's like, because what BlizzCon is about meeting everyone in the community. And, you can just get the virtual ticket for the panels. I was actually less interested in some ways with the panels versus meeting everybody. So
I know. So
it was a great thing.
I heard rumor that the room next year we're going to have the party in will actually be a small hotel room. That way it's smellier and hotter than before.
That would be great.
We got to one up ourselves. So
right. Actually, I was actually thinking about this, and we should actually maybe do something a little bit a different room, probably with a taller ceiling. That would be would be appropriate because damn. I think I sweat through everything that night. So that was crazy.
And the AC was on full blast. You could feel it. If you stood in one specific corner, it would blow on you. But
It
wouldn't go more than 8 inches outside that area.
Well, I think none of us were expecting. We thought, maybe like 100, maybe 200, maybe will show up.
Yeah, no idea what to expect. And having 1,000 people come through the door, that was fantastic and awesome. Yeah. And it was humbling in a lot of ways.
It was. We had the gaming contests, and Bashiak, I think it was Hokie won a free year of World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah,
gave out a lot of stuff.
We gave away the BlizzCon bear mount.
Yeah, that's right.
And Darius was like, if I knew that we were giving that away, I would have stolen it.
I would have taken off.
Right. So it was really a really good time, and thank you guys for coming out. Those that came up to us and met us, wonderful to meet you guys. I had a blast. I had an absolute wonderful time at BlizzCon, and I know that the other guys did too. I want
to give a shout out to the people in my new guild that I'm raiding with for meeting me there and not kicking me out of the guild after they met me.
All right.
Moodykins, Jadis, Apollo, Yeska, all you guys, thanks for not kicking me out after meeting me in person.
Awesome. There we go.
Good.
There we go. And thanks to all of our sponsors as well. So we had Steel Series stuff, Trivial Pursuit. We had t-shirts from Woot.com. Ask Mr. Robot gave some stuff away as well. And all the cool Warcraft stuff that we gave out as well. So it was really cool. And I think it was Bashiak. Yeah, Bashiak.
Gave us
the year of WoW that we ended up giving to Hokie.
I love that new name that you're coming up with, Darius. Stashiok. I think that's brilliant.
That's it. That's what we're going to call him.
Well,
that needs to catch on.
We did thank Bashiak, and then I also thanked Bashiak's mustache.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
That thing does have a life of its own.
It does.
I don't know. Maybe we should get into the details, though.
Let's do it,
What
baby.
do you think? You want to do that? All right, let's do it. Let's go into the raid news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, it's time to check out what's happening with raiding news around World of Warcraft. And, of course, it's all about BlizzCon because we found out so much stuff.
Woo.
And we will share it with you in just one moment. But first, let's do an audio-style wrap-up with all the quotes and things and music and fun stuff. So here we go with that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BlizzCon 2013.
And I'm going to apologize up front as usual. I'm totally peaked.
I've missed you guys.
Alliance, you here? Where you at?
What would happen if the baddest badasses in Warcraft history formed a basketball team?
Blizzard is proud to present to you Warlords of Draenor!
When you purchase Warlords of Draenor, you get to boost one of your characters to level 90.
This is the new male dwarf with the updated model.
Level 100 talents.
We've only been working on this for a little while.
We can't count, so we gave them to you 5 levels early.
We're going to have 7 new dungeons.
So what is a garrison?
There are going to be 2 new raid zones available.
This is the World of Warcraft version of housing. Item squish.
And of course, we'll see the return of world bosses.
Inventory updates.
I like how we could get that kind of cheer when we introduced reforging and the same cheer when we get rid of it. It's awesome.
It's been kind of a long time coming. It's amazing to kind of see the turnaround in the community that now everyone's like, you know what, I'm good. I don't need any more abilities. Stop giving me new abilities. Nobody's happy but the paladin when the int plate drops. So going forward, we're just going to have plate. If plate drops and you're a plate using class, it's potentially something you can wear. Same thing is true of mail, leather, and cloth. The plate will have strength on it. If you change to your holy spec, the strength on the plate will change to int, and you can just wear that.
We're streamlining. We're condensing from 6 separate modes of raiding down to 4. We'll have Raid Finder, which exists largely as does today. We will have a normal mode that scales flexibly from 10 to 25. We'll have a heroic mode that scales flexibly from 10 to 25. And for those seeking the ultimate raiding challenge, we have Mythic difficulty at a fixed 20-player raid size. I know everyone really has wanted Mythic Trash if you've been dying for it for years. Okay, maybe not.
Gastropods.
Just wait for the Mythic Gastropod. Moves like 10 times faster. All of our raiding, except for Mythic, will be fully cross-server enabled from day one.
What we're really going to try to do in Warlords is to encourage you to play with the friends you already have. We're trying to remove the barriers that stop that from happening.
Each difficulty has a separate lockout.
Imagine you get 10% bonus valor for every friend that you queue with.
But for the most part, we're going to do everything we can do to avoid the existence of breakpoints when it comes to mechanics, when it comes to loot. Just play with your friends, have fun, enjoy the content.
We know, it's time. You've earned it.
Friends, champions, fellow defenders of Azeroth, welcome to BlizzCon!
Yeah! Woo! Welcome to BlizzCon 2013, everybody. Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Metzen is so cool.
Metzen, my gosh, talk about presence. That guy is unbelievable.
I was saying it at BlizzCon, and I'm pretty sure that he is crossed over. He now thinks World of Warcraft is real, and he lives in that universe. So when he's talking about it, it's just experience for him. You know, it's just
right.
Oh man, he is so excited.
You know, he's got a couple of battle axes just on his desk, like his coffee table next to the remote.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's unbelievable. That
awesome.
Guy.
Well, we have a ton of stuff to cover here today, so we'll kind of run through this stuff, and it's going to be kind of a loosey-goosey show, right? So we're going to go a little loosey-goosey. We're going to just kind of touch on some of these things. We'll maybe stop, especially when we get to rating, we'll stop on that for a while. And I'm sure that some of the class stuff we'll stop on as well. So let's just go into it, and we have the Warlords of Draenor, or Draenor. Is it Draenor or Draenor, guys? What do you think?
Yes.
I think it's the Dark Below.
Still. All right. But apparently we're going to be going, Garrosh is going to escape to, before they drank the blood of Manaroth. This is all lore stuff, so I don't really know it very well. But this is before Fel Orcs, the green orcs that we know. So we're going to go back to that.
There have been a couple people that have posted graphics saying, "Oh, I've simplified the timeline, and this is how it works." And it's a picture of the timeline, and even their simplified version. I'm like, what? What?
Well, it's a funny thing because a lot of people are focusing on the time travel aspect. They're going, well, wait a minute, is this like a J.J. Abrams alternate reality universe? Like, what's going on? So if they're at point A and then B is present, then where's C? And it's all crazy. But in one of the panels, Dave Kosak said, look, guys, this is not the time travel expansion. This is about Draenor and kicking butt on Draenor. That's what this is about. It's about getting to Draenor. It's not about time travel. Focus on Draenor in the savage world that it is.
Right.
And we're going to go there. We're going to kick some
It was the savage world of savagery, I think is what.
Yes.
It was like everything was savage. And actually, I have the quote from Dave. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it's important to note this is an expansion about Draenor, so it's not really the time travel expansion. You don't have to worry about Thrall's parents not meeting and now he's got to play guitar at the school dance. That's not the expansion we're building.
Right. So that's
right.
So that's what Dave had to say. That's funny.
Exactly.
Because everybody was like putting Garrosh into the what car was it? Damn, I can't even remember.
DeLorean.
I couldn't pull the name out from my head.
Gotta get back in time.
I still have a cold. Give me a break.
Huey Lewis, baby. Come on.
One of the greats. Back in time.
But I think that we just gotta, if we can, try and focus on this is about Draenor, and not necessarily trying to create this. Because you're right, like you get mixed up. Like, well, wait a minute, is this like time travel? Like, what's going on? For me personally, I'm looking forward to going to Draenor and seeing this savage world.
The savage world of savagery.
That's right. And kicking some booty.
Right. And along with this, we get a new world, which is Draenor. From before it fell apart into Outland. And then we have lots of warlord orcs, right? And then we have 7 new zones, no new classes or races, but we are getting character remodels. And they showed the dwarf, gnome, and orc. All the male versions of those.
Right.
One of my favorite things about this, the fact that we're going back to the Outland area.
Yeah.
But one of I think the most positive things from this is the fact that Zenga Marsh is underwater, because man, do I hate that place.
It's the Zanger C or something like that, isn't it?
Everyone was clapping at the map, and I was clapping just because there was no Zanga Marsh.
right. Of course. Along with all of this stuff, we have a lot of new features, a lot of things that they're cleaning up for us as well. Like with and I think that Ghostcrawler got a huge round of applause for all of the inventory changes that are coming up. Because we've got heirlooms and toys to become collections like pets and mounts right now. So
easily the best announcement at all of BlizzCon is that.
I think everybody fell out of their chair and went, finally.
Oh man, I could have my bag space back.
And it's all cross realm, and you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So it's just, go and have fun, right?
I think all of us, we still have that like puntable marmot or like the football or like,
got a few
like
of
the
those.
riverboat.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It's like, well, I can't delete it because I might one day want to use this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And it just keeps just inventory space. But I thought it was smart because they were saying, look, we're not going to just give you bigger bags because that doesn't help anything. Every expansion we get bigger bags.
Yeah.
It's still, our bags are still full. So I like it now that they're putting them in this nice little tab, that it's organized, all the toys, all this random stuff that's been sitting in my bags for months, I can finally kind of get rid of, but still have, because you never know. One day I just might want to use it. So
yeah, and for me, I think the bigger thing is the fact that my priest is my main and has been my main for years, and I've never wanted to swap to my shaman or my mage or something else as my main, not just because the amount of time I put into my priest, but all my cool stuff is on my priest, and I miss having that. And now if it's all just in a tab somewhere, I can play my shaman as a main and not have to worry about not having my puntable marmot or
right,
my Dalaran coin or something like that. It's all just there, and it makes making me swap mains a little bit easier.
Absolutely, and it's such a nice change because I think it's probably going to open up like 20, 30 spots.
Easily.
I mean,
at the end of Cataclysm, I thought I was in a good spot. I had a bunch of bag space. I'd gotten rid of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they released MOP, and they were like, here, every quest is going to give you a vanity item. Good luck.
Right. Yeah, it was not good.
So much stuff.
It was not cool.
One thing, too, speaking of inventory and quests, too, is that now the quest items are just going to be in the quest log. They won't be in your bags, which is also great.
That is amazing, by the way. That is like one of my favorite things ever is that quest items, because I always like struggle to find all that stuff. So it's one of those, just it's so freeing.
Yeah, or I'll be leveling and I'll move from one zone to the next and I'll drop a bunch of quests that I'm like, I don't need these anymore. I'm halfway through. I'm never going to finish them. But it leaves the stuff in my bags.
Yeah.
And it's left there. And I'm like, well, do I need this?
Thanks,
where did
Blizz.
this come from?
Thanks, Blizz. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
I think they did fix that, though. I've noticed that it does kind of delete the items now.
Sometimes.
There's still some places where it doesn't, but if it's going away completely, that solves that problem.
Well, and how many times have we gone to accept a quest and it's like, inventory is full? Well, what the heck?
Yeah. Or it's just go collect 10 of these things and they don't stack. It's 10 individual parts to something or whatever.
Right.
That's the other thing. A lot of things are stacking to 100 now. So a lot of things are going to be stacking to 100, so we're not going to have to worry about that crap anymore. So it's a bunch. I tell you, this is awesome for bag space.
Well, that's kind of funny is because like Greg Street, I mean, he got such huge applause.
He really did.
I wonder if some people are more looking forward to this expansion, not necessarily for Draenor, but for the feature changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, feature changes. And actually, it was really funny because I was at the Hilton. And all of a sudden, there's Greg Street, like right there. And he's like, oh, hey, how's it going? And so we just like hung out for a while. And I said, how did you luck out and get all the good stuff to say for BlizzCon? Because when Ian talked, everybody was like, what's all this about raiding? What's going on? And then, but then Greg gets up there and everybody's like, yeah, no more reforging, no more of this. So, I mean, it's like he got all the good stuff. I don't know what's going on, but
some nice feature changes, man.
Absolutely. Also, we have Tom Chilton got up and talked about garrisons a little bit. This is Warcraft's version of personal housing. where you can recruit followers and you can get offline progression through missions. You have 3 levels of buildings, and you can customize it, even including where the thing is, right? Where the garrison is actually located.
Right.
Yes.
So, reactions, guys, to garrisons. What did you think?
Dairies?
I mean, I think it was cool of Blizzard to put Animal Crossing in WoW, because it's so popular on the DS. So I guess why not play it here? But
Sure.
I think this is great. I mean, the farm was great to supplement income, to supplement mats and things like that. And this is just the farm on steroids. So, give us something to do.
Yeah.
Give us some more buffs. Give us better ways or different ways to get gear and stuff like that. I think it should be fun.
Okay, Koltrane?
I'll tell you one thing I'm excited about. Garrisons start at level 90. That's awesome.
Woo!
So Mumper in Twitter, Corey Stockton, was saying, somebody asked him, hey, so do you get this at like level 100 or do you get this at 90? And he said, you get it at 90. Essentially the way it's going to work is, we're going to Draenor. We need you to plant your flag and help us conquer this new land. And then you can go plant your garrison at level 90.
That's
so
cool.
All of your followers, all of your buddies, you're all going to kind of level up with them as well.
That's
so
cool.
they'll be level 91, you'll be 91, they'll be
That's
92.
a great idea.
Yeah, so it starts at 90. It's not something that starts at max level, which is great. I really dig that. So you can get that right out of the gate, this brand new kind of feature and this new content. And, for me, I work a lot of hours. I do.
Sure.
So I like this offline progression thing that I can wake up in the morning, have my coffee, send out my dudes. I can go to work, come home, collect the loot. That's what, because it's all about the loot, baby.
That's right.
And if I can do that, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I will say one thing though, and this is not to take away from what Garrisons is or will be or anything like that, but a part of me really just kind of wishes that it was not personal. It was not a personal home. I wish that it was a guild home. I think that Blizzard missed the mark on it. And it seems like a slight difference, right? But if you could go and build a garrison for your guild and have all your guildies just set their hearth to there, right? So you're out there and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, here's our new home. Just set your hearth here and we'll hang out and we'll be able to do stuff. And I know that you'll be able to invite friends to your garrison, up to 40 friends, because that's how big the raid sizes can be. But it's not the same thing. And I think that as a guild, you can work on stuff as well. You can work on other things like upkeep of the garrison and kind of do that on a regular basis as well, and be able to really populate this thing and have a very different experience.
The way Blizzard has always done it is they test it small and go bigger, so this could be something we see later on. One of the downsides to that, too, is Star Wars Galaxies did this. They did player housing and guild housing and whatnot, where you could go to anybody's house. The problem with that is once the person stopped playing, the house didn't go away, so you had these vast wastelands of empty player housing that just sat there and made everything look desolate and empty. It was like a forgotten cities just on every planet. So I'm sure that's not something they want at all.
But also keep in mind, though, in Star Wars Galaxies, when you put down a home, now correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. In Star Wars Galaxies, when you put down a place of residence, it was in the actual world.
Yeah.
Which meant that everyone would see it. The way I believe garrisons are working is only I see it, along with whoever else I've invited into my party. I don't think it's in the actual world where strangers are walking by who aren't in my party. I don't think they can see it.
No, I know. No, they can't. They have to be in your party. I'm just saying if we did guild housing or housing that anyone could visit, you run into that situation where, you get stuff that everyone can see, and then it's just this vast wasteland of empty things.
And there's some people that say, well, what? They said it's supposed to be in the world. I want to be able to see it. Like, you have to understand, too, like what happened with Star Wars Galaxies was, it was just everywhere you looked were like just these homes and random, and it just didn't look like Star Wars. It looked kind of crazy, and
like Detroit.
Yeah, right. It looked like Detroit, right? But it was a different thing. So I kind of dig it that it is kind of a phasing thing. When I first heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be out in the world like Star Wars Galaxies. But on further explanation, it's not. I'm actually okay with that. I think because otherwise you're going to look out and you're going to see like 80 houses at the entrance of the zone, and you won't be able to like get past into the zone because there are going to be garrisons everywhere.
Right.
The phasing is the right decision. I do think having a guild house will come. I think it's just something they have to make sure this works, and before they start inviting 900 people to a phased, house.
Sure. Well, and I think it could work out really well because I mean, there's always even if it goes into a place like the farms of Mists of Pandaria where nobody actually kept up their farms. I don't think, not many people anyway. People started going, the auction house is looking pretty good right now. I could just go there instead of working on my farm. So if it goes into a pattern of disuse for personal garrisons, that's where the guild garrison could really be strong. And because even if you're not actively doing stuff with it, you're actively gathering there, I think, as a guild on a regular basis. So it could still feel populated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like too with garrisons too, the obviously the offline progression, the different builds. I like that if I'm a jewel crafter enchanter, which some may not be in the new expansion, but we'll get into that later. I like it that if I need mats, let's say I'm a jewel crafter, but I need mining mats, I need ore, that I can have a mine in my garrison, and I can send my followers out there working the mine. By the way, I received an email who will remain nameless. Somebody said, Colt, I can't wait for garrisons. I'm gonna, because you can name your NPCs, your followers.
Right.
I'm gonna name mine Koltrane, and you're just gonna work the mines all day. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
There we go.
Looking forward to working your mine.
There we go. All right. We've got a lot more ground to cover here, guys. So maybe we should move it along, and we'll make sure to stop back on some of these topics as we roll through the next few weeks and months, I'm sure. Let's talk about class designs real quick. Now, they did some new things. Number one, no real new abilities. Ghostcrawler was like saying how the public was saying, you know what? No, we're good. Button bloat is a thing. Button bloat is real. Maybe we should shrink that back a little bit. And so they're going to be doing like spell leveling, essentially, right, Dairies?
Well, I get he kind of just like glazed over this and didn't really explain it too much. So I'm not sure what he means by this. I mean, your spells are going to be more potent, but does this mean that we can downrank our spells again? I mean, what's going on?
I don't think that means we're going to be able to downrank. I think that just means that we're going to be able to level them like we used to be able to in Wrath and before that.
Those spells are just going to now do more damage.
I mean, they do that already when you level because your gear gets better. So what are I don't.
Well, now it says rank 2 versus rank 1, and automatically like, oh, cool, it's rank 2.
Yeah, I got.
What does that change though? Like
it changes your mentality toward it, right? So you go, oh, I got something. It may not be the best thing in the world, but you got something, right?
Right.
So I think that's kind of where they're going with it, and
I think it's silly.
I don't think that they're going to allow downranking because they're trying to get spells off your hotbar, and if you have like Frostbolt rank 1, Frostbolt rank 4, I mean that's crazy.
I
you know what I mean?
Yeah, if they do that, that's not going to be good. So please don't do that, Blizz.
Exactly.
I would like you to bring that back. I need that for mana efficiency.
Now, did you guys check out the level 100 talents?
I did.
Yeah. On what?
I got a problem with some of these level 100 talents. And Preach was kind of talking about this too. And that is like, so this is level 100, right? This is 100. This is a big one. This is a big number. This is triple digits, baby.
Yeah.
Right? So when we're talking triple digits, I want something major at level 100. I want something that is going to transform my character into some, like if I'm a warrior, I want to like turn into some beast and like just start tearing stuff up. I want some kind of proc that's going to like maybe transform my character that's real flashy, that's got some major thing. A lot of these talents, when I'm looking at them, are like increased damage or like, 5% more chance to block. Like that's cool, but like not for 100. Like it's really, like if you look at a lot of them, there's not a lot of like cool fancy stuff. Like the mage stuff is actually pretty cool. but like I want more like jazz. Right now it's a lot of like stat stuff, like more damage or more.
How many times though did he say that like these aren't the final? Don't
You're right.
base anything on this. You know, these are basically just placeholders.
Right. No, and that's true. That's true. But like overall, I would rather see a more of a game-changing, I don't know, something at 100 than.
Well, remember when they announced Mists of Pandaria, they had new talents, the whole new talent system. And what was one of the things that mages could do? They could double sheep, right? And that didn't make it into the game, right?
Yeah, no, not to my knowledge.
So,
I mean, if that was more of a PvP thing, but I'm not sure.
Right, but that didn't, as far as I know, and I don't play a mage, so I'm not sure. But that did not make it into the game. So I don't think that we'll see that this is not the final iteration by any stretch of the means. So it'll be, I think we'll be pretty okay.
Well, I agree, but I just think that looking at them overall, a lot of it was increase to damage, increase to healing, increase to block, that kind of thing.
Right.
Personally, just as a broad stroke thing, I would rather it be more cool, you know, transform your character into this or some type of, I mean, you're level 100.
Yeah.
You know, I want the screen to flash and my character doubles in size and then I can, do something amazing.
Right.
That's just an overall broad stroke thing.
Yeah.
But that's just my own person.
And I think that the forums, by the way, are probably going to reflect that opinion in some sort of way. Probably screaming. That's my guess. That's just my guess. That they'll be like, come on, Blizz, give me this. Or I don't like this.
People don't get upset. I don't know what you're talking about.
They don't.
Never.
Also, along with the class design, and it's not a redesign by any stretch. You know, it's just going to be, cutting back on some abilities or something. We also have the item squish. So the item squish is actually kind of cool. People have actually been wanting this time around.
Right.
So, what do you guys think about the item squish that they have planned for us?
Well, I think the big thing to keep in mind is that we're not getting nerfed.
No.
I know when you look at it, people think we are. They're like, well, wait a minute. I was hitting for 2 million damage, and now I'm hitting for 2,000. How am I not being nerfed?
Right.
But you're still doing the same amount of damage to the mob. You know what I mean? All the numbers are being scaled back, including mob's health. So the ratio is still the same. You're still doing the exact same amount of damage. It just is 2,000 rather than 2 million. But you're still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and Ghostcrawler said that if it takes you 5 seconds to kill a Timeless Isle Gulp Frog, it'll still take 5 seconds to kill a Timeless Isle Gulp Frog. Nothing should change here, folks. And we all played the new expansion that they had available at BlizzCon, and for me, it felt fine. It was absolutely perfect. There was no problem.
I was still, killing mobs in 2 to 3 shots. Like nothing really changed there. Just the numbers were lower, but I was still killing them just as quick.
By the way, if you only have 15 minutes on the damn expansion, don't do the spirit healer res that I did. Don't do that. You shouldn't ever do that. I did that because I'm like going, I'm in a bad spot. I need some help, and then I'm like, oh man, maybe I should just create a new character. This wasn't good. It was not good at all.
I can say that I did when went into the beta that they had there, the build there, and we did a dungeon, and I didn't even notice that the items had been squished until we were about halfway through. So that's how a little of an impact it's going to have on your gameplay.
Right.
Looking at my gear really quick and then going in and trying to tank things in cat form.
Should we talk about gear?
I did.
We should talk about gear because this is.
Oh yes.
This was like my thing. This was my big thing. Woo! Right. This entire time, gear changes, and for all of you guys that play support, tanks, especially healers, you guys will love this change, and that is that stats are going to change with your spec now, and I want to give Blizzard the big applause for that because I am in love with this. This is like the change that I am like totally stoked for.
Finally.
So basically, leather's going to be leather, plate's going to be plate, and if you can wear plate, hey, guess what? You can just have this gear no matter what your spec is, and we'll change it for you as is needed. And then, you know, the trinkets, rings, cloaks, those things are going to have spirit on it, or, you know, the secondary stats that you may want to think about for your particular spec, right?
Yeah, those are going to be your there'll be healing trinkets, you know, and DPS trinkets and things like that, you know, int DPS trinkets and int healing trinkets or things like that. So that's where a lot of your stuff's going to come from. But the armor changes, you know, constantly sharding the Holy Pally plate set.
I know.
Will be a thing of the past.
I know. I'm so looking forward to that, by the way.
I can't tell you how many times I've said to our DK tank, Sharku, I said, "Here, Shark, this is for your healing, your DK healing set."
Right. Because he needs that. He does. Actually, he does need that. That's the weird part.
It makes his diseases hit harder, the intellect.
But this is another thing of why Ghostcrawler was one of the biggest celebrities. This is at Blizz. I mean, he already is a celebrity, but I mean, he got some of the most cheers. This is another feature change. Yeah. And something that people like myself, all of us, are super jazzed about. And another benefit is it helps with bag space. You know, on my Windwalker monk named Walk Fu.
Oh, crap. Here we go.
Yeah, be ready.
Oh, sorry.
Walk Fu.
Yeah.
Man, I have to switch between two computers now. You can't.
One of which is Windows. Oh no!
I got you working, baby.
One of which is a PC, so I'm like working double.
That's right, working for a living. But I've got my Windwalker set, and now I'm also building my Mist, my healing set. You know what I mean? And that's just so much bag space.
Right.
And this is going to change all of that. I can just get shoulders, leather shoulders, and I can change my spec. And now they've got intellect versus agility. So. Oh, and great.
And so it's kind of weird, and I'm not sure exactly how they're going to work it as far as it goes with. I mean, hit and expertise are gone. What else is gone? Dodge and parry are gone. Is that correct?
Well, they're not gone. They're just not going to mean as much.
No, they're still going to have dodge and parry, but it's not going to be on items.
Yeah,
right.
They love the idea of active mitigation. So.
Right.
It'll be things like a druid tank. You're going to want your active mitigation up as much as possible, but when it's not up, you're not going to be dodging like you would before. It's now your armor is going to mean quite a bit. You're going to mitigate.
Right. But I mean, as far as on gear, that dodge and parry are gone on gear, and then hit and expertise are just gone.
Yeah,
there's no more of that, which is amazing. It just frees you up. You don't have to hit that magic number anymore, right?
and that's very freeing. And I think what this goes towards is the thing that we all want, and that is this. When I'm in a raid and I get a piece of gear, I get a piece of loot. As it stands right now, I can't equip that piece of loot because A, I need to get it reforged, I got to get it gemmed, and I got to get it enchanted.
Right.
But now, with the removal of reforging, they're taking gem slots off a majority of the gear, they're removing a lot of the enchants. I can actually get a piece of loot and equip it for the next boss fight.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is cool.
Like, as something as simple as that sounds, the way we are now is I get loot for the night, and I just have to use it the next time. Or if we do like a 5-minute break, everybody hauls bootay to the reforger and try and gem and enchant and everything, so they got it ready for the next fight. And then you don't get a pee break, and that's no good.
Yeah, because, there's no more reforging. There's also going to be fewer gems and enchants available.
Yeah.
And all of the JCs and enchanters out there are freaking out because they won't make any money anymore.
Well, no.
They're freaking out. Lots of people are freaking out right now.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's not cool, for these guys. They're like, I'm not going to make any money anymore. Oh, no.
I mean, they're still going to have gem slots on certain things. I just guarantee it's going to be more rare, which means they're going to be a lot more expensive. They are still going to have some enchants, but just for me as a raider, I want to be able to get a piece of gear, equip it, and use it right then and there, and not have to freak out about having to reforge everything.
Right.
You know
well, and Colt, you and I, we actually put something together for those people that are freaking out right now about Warlords of Draenor or Draenor, either way. And let's play this thing down. It's an important public service announcement from us here at Convert to Raid. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Koltrane.
And I'm Pat Crane.
And we are here today to talk to you about a very recent issue.
It's an issue that affects most of us, especially orcs.
It's a condition called IFOWISNAWOD. I freak out when I see news about Warlords of Draenor.
That's right, Colt. And it affects 1 in 5 Azerothians.
That's a pretty scary statistic, Pat. Almost as scary as that time I thought Blizzard was going to make garrisons into a daily hub like that of the Golden Lotus.
That's right. You really freaked out there. Like, really freaked out.
I wet 'ems, Pat, and I have the stain to prove it.
No, I mean I was really concerned for you.
It smells.
My bet. Oh yeah, sorry.
We at the Let's Not Freak Out About News on the Warlords of Draenor Society are looking to help you.
Bring us your tired, your poor, your night elves upset they didn't show their updated character models at Blizzcon.
We can provide the support and care you need to move on from the initial shock from the removal of reforging and get on with your life.
This is Timmy. He was a troll concerned with not being able to learn Flight on Draenor until patch 6.1, and, well, let's let him tell the story.
I was first upset when I read the forum posts about flight restrictions in Warlords of Draenor. Now, thanks to the LNFOANOTWODS, I no longer want to push my berserking button and poop everywhere.
Thank you, Timmy.
And thank you for not pooping.
If you have a loved one who may be suffering or find yourself with these symptoms, please call us.
Call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN. Operators are standing by.
Call today. I'm not just a founder, but a member as well.
Right. Just like when you read Blizzard was removing intellect on leather items.
Oh, Koltrane.
You just had to bring this up now, didn't you?
Call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN for your free brochure. That's 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN.
Burn with fire and poop everywhere!
I kind of lost it at the end.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That escalated quickly.
It really did. It really did. But don't freak out quite yet, guys. We've got a long way to go. We've got the whole beta. Just be nice to the devs and to the community managers. They're working hard behind the scenes.
Constructive feedback is always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN.
Or call 1-800-CALM-THE-F-DOWN. You're right.
Operators are standing by. All right. So maybe let's get into the PvE side of things, shall we, fellas? And let's talk about dungeons and raids. 7 new dungeons. There are going to be 6 new ones, really, I guess. And then they're revamping Uber's Upper Blackrock Spire.
Woo!
Which I am not a fan of.
No, I don't know anyone that is.
What? All of the Blackrock stuff can go suck it as far as I'm concerned.
What?
It's horrible. I hate Ubers. Ubers was.
I'm sure they'll do a really good job streamlining it and whatnot, but man, the amount of times people got lost in there or just quit halfway through because it took so long or whatever. It's just not good memories.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Ubers was the cool birds. That doesn't make sense. But
what?
I enjoyed Ubers. Now, I enjoyed it back in the day, though. I don't know about, now.
When you're getting attuned and stuff like that?
Right. Like, I'm talking in the days of vanilla, but it was something else. So it might have changed quite a bit. But no, you're right. A lot of people, little hate there on the old Ubers doobers. Not many big fans.
It's a good thing that they're revamping it at least. Because it needs something. I don't know. I just did not like that. And all of these dungeons, by the way, they're going to have a normal, even max level 100 normal, and then a heroic and a challenge mode. So all 3 modes for all of these dungeons. And what was said was that normals will help with getting people into gear for heroics and raiding, and that they're actually going to make heroics a little bit more difficult, which I am totally for, because I thought that there were some problems with Miss Pandaria heroics that didn't make it feel so damn heroic.
Didn't feel very heroic.
No, it did not. No, it really did. It felt more like, normal plus, maybe a little bit.
Right.
Maybe not even that.
But also consider these are with 4 other strangers.
Yeah.
So trying to get 4 strangers to do some CC not the easiest thing in the world.
Right.
I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
Let alone not break the CC.
Don't break the CC, people. If it's got a star over its head, don't touch it.
Well, I'm just saying that there's something to be said about making heroics a little bit easier than they were like back in Cataclysm, where, you know, people would queue. What was that one?
Grim Batol, right? No.
Grim Batol.
Was that it? Yeah.
Yeah, the second you get in, tank drops, healer drops, and you're like, oh, like I just waited in queue for 45 minutes. But nobody wants to deal with that.
I waited in queue for 45 minutes for a dungeon that's going to take an hour and a half.
Exactly.
It was crazy.
Exactly. So is that what you want? Is that what you want, Pat Crane and Dairies? Do you want? Is that what you want?
Yes.
Is that what you're looking for? Those difficult hardcore heroics with 4 other strangers that cause people to drop group?
I'd like a little bit more challenge.
Well,
a little bit more.
A little.
I mean, you know,
but a little
bit more. And plus, they said that they were doing some new things with queuing with your friends. They're going to give you bonus valor for queuing with your friends. And I think I have that somewhere in here. Here it is. Here's Greg Street. Here's what he had to say.
So the way stacking the deck will work is it will give you a different type of bonus, in this case, bonus valor. Imagine you get 10% bonus valor for every friend that you queue with.
Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Right. So I have a problem with that because it implies that you have friends to queue with.
Are you saying that you don't have friends?
Now I have to go grind out friends in order to queue to get more valor.
It's true.
No,
well,
it's ridiculous.
It's a funny thing. I'm actually surprised this hasn't been in the game earlier. I'm actually pretty shocked. Yeah. Like, this makes perfect sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think Greg Street was also talking about that. They didn't think that Dungeon Finder was going to be as popular as it is. So that's why they had like, oh, if you do this once a day, you'll get bonus valor. They didn't realize that just how popular it became. But also, I like this too. Like, another thing that can happen is if you're in a 5-man, like let's say we're doing these new ones, right? And lo and behold, I've got 4 of the people and they actually CC and they don't break the CC and everything's going great. If I re-queue with those other 4 people, we're now a favored friend group. We now get the stacking the deck buff on the next heroic.
So now Blizzard tells me who my friends are.
Oh, jeez. That's right. That's what's going on here.
I guess it's good. Because I obviously can't make that decision for myself. So
right.
It's
of course.
Yeah, but it's anyone you queue with. I think this is a really smart way because look, we all enjoy doing dungeons. You know, if we're all in Mumble together or Ventrilo and we're all doing it together, that's just a much better experience. It's just a lot more fun. So I think the stacking the deck thing is going to be great.
Right. And they are also planning on, they're still going to have scenarios and stuff like that. So, I mean, you'll still be able to do some smaller group stuff as well. And they are planning on having new dungeon content later on in the expansion as well. So they heard people say, what's up with no new dungeons, Blizz? And they have taken that into account, apparently. So we will see,
which is great.
Yeah, so we'll see some more dungeons and stuff like. Even if they're shorter runs, I don't care if they're like 2 or 3 bosses, with some good trash between them. That's always fun. That's a good time. Yeah. It doesn't have to be the Grim Batol hour-and-a-half dungeon. I mean that.
Oh gosh,
they probably know that. Let's hope they learned that lesson too. Let's hope they remember that lesson that they learned.
Well. One thing that they've said is it was an issue too of resources. It was like if we take people off working on the raids, then we can't do dungeons. But they were saying too at Blizzcon this year that their team has almost doubled in size through Mists of Pandaria. So they got more people, they got more artists, more encounter designers, they got more of everything. So now that they can focus on the raids, but also work on dungeons for later on into the expansion. Because you're right, that was a big complaint. There was like, they started with these dungeons and that was it, and a lot of people didn't like that because people love dungeons.
Sure.
And I'm one of them too. So.
Well, and from a healer perspective, and I think part of my problem was with gearing as well. So they made changes to armor, which is great. So then now I can switch to any spec that I want to and go run a scenario. So I can run DPS and not have to switch too much, not have to worry about it too much. Which was always kind of like the big concern when I switched over to scenarios with my druid is that, is it going to be me and 2 other healers that drop in mysteriously? I mean, for the heroic scenarios, it is a little bit easier because then I could just, we could plan it a little bit. But yeah, it was always kind of that thing with scenarios, and now they made the changes to armor, and they're gonna do some more dungeons. I like I like having tank, heals, and DPS. Because I play heals, but but I like it. I like it. So I'm totally stoked about all of that stuff, all the new dungeons, and they look good. From what we saw, I mean, it looks like there's going to be some cool places that we're going to be going. Lots of ogres, lots of orcs, lots of Blackrock.
Lots of very savage places to go.
Savagery.
That's
savage
right.
orcs, savage Blackrock.
That's right. Savage Ubers.
Savagely snowing in the build that they had. It was very savage.
It was all so savage. It was so savage.
It was so Fred Savage.
And Fred Savage. The Wonder Years. It's the Wonder Years of Draenor. All right.
That's right.
And now maybe we should finally move it along to the new raids. Woo! Finally, we're a show that talks about raiding. Maybe we should talk about raids. All right.
Let's do it, baby.
So, what's the rundown for what's going to be coming with some of the new raids here in
So we're getting 2 new raids at the beginning. We're getting Blackrock Foundry and High Mall, not to be confused with Dire Mall.
Although I may confuse it with Dire Mall.
Yes. And we're going to get 16 total bosses across these 2. They're going to split it up a lot like they did with Mogreshan and Heart of Fear, Terrace and the Springs, where first raid will give lesser eye level than the second raid that comes out, which I think is a great idea. I really like that they're doing this. It makes the 16 bosses, if you go into Siege of Orgrimmar right now and there's 14 bosses, you have to do all 14, save for a couple in a row. If you want to go to the last boss, you've got to extend all this other stuff. But if we're going to do 4 bosses in 12 or 6 and 6 or 6 and 8 rather, whatever the breakdown was, it means that once your raid team has gotten all the gear they could possibly get from the first raid, you don't have to go back there anymore. You don't have to kill those bosses anymore. And that's a great thing because it saves you so much time. It saves a lot of grinding and a lot of burnout and things like that. And I think that's a great way to do it. And then they've also announced things like the Blackrock Foundry won't be linear. You'll be able to do this boss or this boss or this boss.
Right.
Whatever you can. If you're stuck on a boss, you don't have to extend. You just go to that boss and kill it or not kill it and then clear the rest of the bosses or something like that. And they also mentioned something which I think is really good. And it's a key system where, say you've killed the boss.
Right.
Or you've killed whatever boss a certain number of times. Eventually, he drops a key that unlocks the final boss of the dungeon or the raid.
So then you don't have to go. You don't have to go through the other 3 wings or whatever to get to the final boss. You can just go. To
I think that's great too, because that saves lockouts. You can go and work on the final boss a bunch of times. And if you can't get him down, then you go and clear the rest of the place without having to worry about all these lockouts and things like that. Especially on New Mythic, if you're extending that lockout, you're stuck there. You can't go back now.
Right.
And I think that's such a great idea. Or if you got a bunch of people and they only need weapons or trinkets or whatever from the final boss, you just go right to them every week and get it, and you're done.
And that's awesome. So I mean, they're introducing a lot more flexibility to raiding, and along with flexibility comes flexibility. Isn't that right, Koltrane?
Right. Yes.
So, Cole, what's going on with the flexibility of all the different new modes and stuff?
Oh, this is like the greatest news ever.
I know.
This is fantastic.
It really is.
And that is that you can now flex normal and heroic raids.
Here.
You can have...
Big applause.
Yes.
Big applause.
Woo! This is big, baby. This is big news.
Yeah.
This solves that issue that a lot of raid teams have, and that is this. Oh, we're missing our 2 DPS. They couldn't make it tonight. Well, then we have to cancel the whole raid. Or we can't find a pickup guy or this or that. Or like now the only thing that changes is the boss's health. The raid team can get bigger, it can get smaller, and the only thing that changes are the mobs. Like you can still raid. You can raid with 14 now and be okay. You can raid with less or more. I mean, you guys know what all this is, but I'm just floored by this and really excited about this.
Yep.
If there's a night that I'm available to raid that I wouldn't normally to be, I can just join a regular raid team and do a normal raid or heroic, and it's cool. It's good to go.
Yeah, and
not even just that you can raid with 14 or 15, but I think one of the biggest things that they covered here that kind of got swept under the rug was the fact that there's no breakpoints anymore. It's percentages. It's the 14th person makes it a 50% chance to get an extra mechanic. The 15th makes it a 90% chance. I think that's awesome. That's great because it's going to scale it better with more people, make it a little bit harder, a little bit more challenging with more people. So you're not just doing a 25-man with 2 healers,
right? Well, and actually, I have a clip from Ian Hazakostas that actually talks about this, about breakpoints in general, and here it is.
But for the most part, we're going to do everything we can do to avoid the existence of breakpoints when it comes to mechanics, when it comes to loot, and to really make it feel like, okay, you have 17 people online, go raid with 17. You have 12 online, go raid with 12. Just play with your friends, have fun, enjoy the content.
So that's amazing, right? I mean, so it's just go join up with your friends, and it's all... The nice part is, okay, so we've got several things to talk about here. LFR and Flex and Normals and Heroics are now changing to LFR is staying LFR, and then that'll be Normals, Heroics, and then Mythic. So the first 3, LFR, Normals, Heroic, these are all going to be flexible, and they're all going to be cross-realm from day one, I think.
Day one. Oh, that's
one.
Awesome.
I think LFR probably will have the slower release as it has, because this is the only thing where you need to queue up for it. The rest of them are going to be get your group together, go into the raid. So that's...
I didn't think of that. What if Blizzard does a staggered release of Normals?
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I think that because it's Normals and because the way that loot drops is the way that it drops in normal raids, essentially, it's gonna be open. It's gonna be open season. It kind of has to be, right, Colt?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is the way that it's got to be. Flex is now like that. That's funny. There's no more flex mode. You know what I mean? Because it's flex. Like normal is now flex.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So now does this mean though that my guild, if we're going to clear mythics at this point, do we have to now clear normals and then heroic and then mythic?
No, it sounds like it's all separate lockouts. So you can do whatever the hell you want. You can just jump right into
mythic. So we can start right on mythic?
Yeah.
On day one?
Sure.
Well, that's a good question, though. I wonder if you might have to kill like the last boss or something.
I don't know
like
about that
to unlock mythic.
I don't know. We'll see, but they all do have different lockouts, and so there shouldn't. I mean, maybe they release Mythic the next week, the following week.
Oh, here we got a tweet. Someone asked, "Can we start in heroic modes right away?" And Ghost Crawler said the current plan is normals and heroics on week 2, Mythic on week 3.
Okay.
If you've beaten heroic and LFR after that.
Okay. All right.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. There's the quote. So
it's basically like the way MOP is,
right,
or was, or all the others.
Sure. So you have to unlock Mythic. That's cool.
Right.
That's still very doable.
With loot, the more people you have, it's going to increase the percentage of loot drops.
Yeah.
So I think it was something like if there's like 14, I don't know what, there used to be like a 14.6. Well, that 0.6 counts like a 60% chance that an extra piece of loot is going to drop. I forgot how it was explained.
It's 1 for every 5 people that you have in your group, right? So if you have 14 people, you have an 80% chance that a third piece of loot will drop. So it's 20% more for each person that you have, other than those. If you have 15, you're always going to get 3. But if you have 16, you'll get 3 with a 20% chance of a 4th.
Which is great. And
awesome.
A quick thing too, speaking of loot,
yeah,
they are going to do it like right now in flex mode. It's like personal loot, and you can coin, but it's all like random. Yeah. They are going to allow you to hand out loot. Like there will be like a master loot system in this normal and heroic raids.
Yeah,
you can still use your coins, to coin bonus roll for extra loot for yourself, but it will be that type of thing where a master loot or a raid leader will be able to hand out loot. So for those that are using like Loot Council or anything like that, you can kind of control the loot. It won't be how flex is now.
Right. Now, what do you guys think about? Okay, so the big news that dropped was that Mythic is going to be one size. It's going to be 20 people, down from 25 or up from 10. I know that there were a lot of 10-man heroic teams that are like, What are you talking about, Blizz? Now I gotta find 10 more people.
Right.
What?
But Darius, you stumbled on something that Paragon was doing, right? Because they're
Yes.
like the top 10-man guild, right?
Yeah, so Paragon is 10-man, but obviously if they want to still compete, they need to go 20-man. So they just released yesterday about a 1.5-minute promotional recruitment video for Warlords of Draenor. It's on the YouTubes, and it's actually pretty good. So this is something you're going to see with a lot of 10-mans. They're going to start looking to recruit and fill those spots.
Are they speaking Finnish in the YouTube?
Right. No.
That's got to be a problem, right? I mean, because they don't speak a language that everybody speaks.
What do you think? They're like handing out chocolates, like Toblerone bars? What are you talking about?
Well, they're not Swiss.
No, they're Finnish, but they speak English in the video.
Oh, okay.
Or at least the words the typed out words are in English.
All right. Well, so if you want to join Paragon, they're looking for people.
Yeah, I think one of the requirements though is that you speak English. So I don't know why.
Speak English
the
or
video
speak
is
Finnish?
Or Finnish rather.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the video is in English.
Yeah, you shouldn't have a video in English if you're trying to. It should all be in Finnish. That's it.
Yeah, maybe they're broadening they're lowering their standards.
Right. So Darius, what do you think about the 20-man mythic thing? I mean, you're like our top raider guy on this show.
I think it's great. I think the change is awesome. I mean, like I was saying at BlizzCon, this solves a lot of long-term problems, but it causes a few short-term problems. Yeah, 10-mans are going to need to recruit more. 25-mans are going to have to cut a bunch of people, which means the people that left the 25-mans will need a new raiding home, and they'll be looking to those 10-mans that are looking to recruit. So it's not like the recruitment pool is shrinking. It's actually getting bigger for those 10-mans. But this means that Blizzard is going to be able to create such finely tuned and balanced raid content for Mythic Raiders, for the 20-man hardcore raid teams out there. You know, it's no longer, well, if we do this in 25-man, it doesn't work in 10-man, so we scrap this ability, or we make it easier here or harder here. It means that you're going to be going in there with 4 healers and 14 DPS and 2 tanks. You know that this is what you're going to see in there. You're going to have this amount of people, and it means really good things for everyone, top to bottom. It means such better encounters for everyone.
Well,
that's going to be raiding, whether it's LFR to Mythic.
And I have a question for you guys too, because one of the things that Ghostcrawler said was that they wanted to make sure that, I think it was Ghostcrawler. Anyway, what was said was that they wanted to make sure that you had one of every class in your raid. So my thought automatically went to, okay, so they're going to have something that only the rogue can do, or something only the monk can do, or the mage, or whatever it is, do those special abilities that only one class can do, and make sure to include those in at least some of the encounters that we might be seeing. Do you guys?
It's kind of like Gruul's Lair, back in the day. Like there was an ability where a mage had to spell steal this shield, and if you didn't have a mage in your raid, you were in big trouble. So what I like about this is they know with 20 people, there's a good chance you're going to have a mage. So they can put that type of mechanic into a boss fight, where before they couldn't, because they had to balance it around 10 and 25. And in a 10-man team, there's no guarantee that you're going to have a mage.
Right.
So, we can't put that ability into that fight. It could be a really cool mechanic, and we can't use it. But now with 20, they know they're going to have, most likely, a mage. So they can add more complexity to these encounters. They can balance it a heck of a lot better and make just a lot more fun. These fights can have a lot more to them because they know that they're going to have more classes.
Right. And the thing that I see in the 2 chat rooms that we have open right now is that people are like, well, there goes 2 tanks. They're out. They're just kicked. Whatever. And I'm like, no, guys. Actually, they're not kicked. The changes in gear that they did, I think, make it a lot easier for people to switch specs. Right? So I think that we'll be able to see a lot more people going to their off-spec and being viable in their off-spec with their same gear. Go Go ahead.
You'll have a warrior tank, you'll have a warrior, a DK, a druid, and a monk all in your raid group. And if a fight requires a monk tank, your DPS monk will tank, and your DK will now DPS, or things like that. You know, you're not going to have to worry about, oh, your monk doesn't have enough tanking gear, it hasn't dropped, or something like that.
Might have to worry about that cat on your desk.
Yeah, it's attacking me.
I had more focus on that. I mean, my goodness gracious.
It's gonna ruin some stuff or something.
But yeah, I mean, you're gonna see that flexibility, which is great. It makes the fight so much fun for everyone, because you look at the mechanics and you're like, okay, well, how can we use a DK here instead of something else? How can we?
I really do think that that's gonna like increase the challenge for a lot of people, which is not a bad thing. It's just going to make you think outside of the spec that you normally rate in, perhaps. So maybe you'll be switching from Resto Druid to Kitty or something. Yeah. So now I got to learn. Now I got to learn how to play a cat druid. Damn it.
Well, at least with normal and flex, you can, as you're doing normals, as you're doing heroics, that might be a way that you can also recruit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can have 14, 15 people doing this stuff to recruit for your 20-man mythic. Look, there's a lot of teams out there right now that are upset. They're saying, look, I'm a 10-man strict only, and now I'm being forced to go 20. And I think that we have to look long-term. In the long run, this is a better solve. Darius said it earlier, and I think it's right. It's going to cause short-term problems, but it's going to solve a lot of great stuff for the future, for 20 men. You're going to have more interesting and complex encounters. Just as a random aside thing, there's no more of this, well, Paragon killed it on 10, so therefore they're world first over Blood Legion and Method that did it on 25. That argument's going to go away. I know that's a minor thing, but
I just find it really interesting that just as WoW Progress gets into 10 and 25 man mode, now we're all going to 20. Blizzard's just throwing them under the bus and saying, nope, now you can go back. We're just going to do 20 now. It's all good. So,
what was the tweet from Ghostcrawler? That kind of settled all this. Now that everything is settled, he said, personally, I think 25-man has always been harder than 10-man. That was his tweet last week.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, by the way, I have a great Ghostcrawler quote. For
my favorite quote from BlizzCon.
Favorite quote from BlizzCon for Dairies. And some of you guys might not like it, but they're changing LFR a little bit. And here's what Greg Street had to say.
We're going to try to make Raid Finder feel a little more like tourist mode. You're there to see the content and experience the bosses and get to tell part of the story, but we're going to try to encourage people to also experiment with what normal and heroic feel like.
So, tourist mode.
What?
And if you're playing LFR right now, you may say, and that's the only thing you're playing, you might go, what? Come on, Street, what are you doing? Geez, Street, king of the beat. Oh, damn. So,
king of the beat.
Yeah, G Street,
Holy
king
cow.
of the beat. That's what he is.
You better watch his feet. He's going to be running from us LFR folk.
That's right. So, what was your reaction, Colt? Because you've been LFR and Flex have been kind of your thing this lately, anyway.
Well, and the reason is because of my schedule.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's LFR raiders out there that they've got jobs, they've got families, they've got children. They don't have time to do a set raid. So Flex and LFR. I just wish he didn't say tourism mode. I mean, because that's like something that you can really grab onto. You know what I mean?
What does that mean to you, Koltrane? Let's start with you. What does that mean to you? Tourism mode or tourist mode?
Well, I understand what he's saying, and it means that I get to see the content, which is great. I might not experience the difficulty of it. I'm kind of sitting in the tour bus as we go by, and we see Jaws at Universal Studios, and he attacks the guy in the boat, but I just watch it happen. But if you're doing normal or heroics, you actually get attacked by the shark. You know what I mean? Like, so maybe LFR is, it's like more of a, you get to raid, you get to experience the content, you get to advance the story. But I will admit, like, I've been doing the LFR, I've been doing the Flex. There's a greater challenge in Flex. For me, I enjoy it because there's a little bit of a greater reward. But I don't know. I think they got a lot of people fired up, the old tourism mode, And that's what draws the line in the sand. Because like Darius, you're a hardcore heroic level raider. I right now, due to schedule, am doing more flex and LFR. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
kind of a funny thing.
Isn't this what people have been saying all along, though, that we need LFR, because it's the only way I can see the content. It's the only way that I can kill the final boss. And that's what Ghostcrawler is saying, is if that's what you want to do, if you want to see the story and see the final boss die, and you don't have time to do a normal or flex or heroic or anything like that, LFR is for you, and we're going to make sure that happens, that you get to experience that stuff without wiping 19 times on a boss or waiting for 2 hours for your queue or something like that.
Right. Well, and for me, it means, yes, it means the mechanics are going to be a lot more forgiving probably than they are even right now. Just because, I mean, they said that they wanted LFR to be something that you could wipe on and that they wanted it to be meaningful and all this kind of stuff. But with this announcement about tourist mode, that makes me think that the mechanics are going to be super simple. Oh, there's your bat, Guano.
Yeah, just mail it to me.
And the other thing that I think that means as far as like gear goes is that for LFR rating, you're not going to see much of an upgrade above what heroic dungeons will give, if any, really. If we're going to make this into tourism mode for, easy valor and for maybe some quick gear upgrades or tier upgrades or whatever it is, I just don't think that the gear will be there either if the challenge isn't there.
You start seeing blues instead of purples, the first wing LFRs and things like that. Yeah.
No, that's no good. Because we still want epics. People that tend to raid LFR is sometimes due to time management.
Sure.
So, but it's interesting what Darius said, and that's true. As if you're doing LFR, this could be due to time management, which means you don't have 4 hours to just wipe on one boss, for the whole night. You know what I mean? You want to get in, you want to get some loot, you want to kill some bosses, and then you want to get out because that's all you really have time for.
Well, and even if the gear is an upgrade, they may not make it purple. So, I mean, that is one of the things that they could do. They could just say all of this stuff is blue. Maybe the next tier of rating would be different, but the first tier would be, oh, this is blue, but it's a much, much better blue than what you've had before.
No, it's gotta be. It's gotta be purple.
We have so many ways to get purples now with garrisons, scenarios, dungeons, quest rewards. There's so many ways to get purples.
That is true.
If you want LFR to be your way to see the content, then that's what it's going to be there for. It's not going to be there to gear you up.
Right.
Yeah, but it's an interesting thing. Somebody wrote in, and I'm kind of experiencing it now, is that I still want best in slot for what I have time to do. And if it's LFR, that means I want all the best epics and LFR gear that I can because that's all I have time to do. I still want that gear.
Now you're comparing yourself. You're saying that you want the best in slot for what you have time to do, but if it's only purples, that's still best in, or if it's only blues, it's still best in slot for what you have time to do.
But blues belong in heroics and dungeons. When I'm on a raid, I want purples. You know what I mean? I know what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. But I'm just saying, like, in dungeons, that's where you get your blues and all that stuff. But when you step into a raid, even if it is LFR, I'm just saying that the mentality, you still want those epic drops.
The feel-good slot machine. You want the feel-good slot machine.
You want to feel good, baby, and you feel good with purples. You know what I mean? I totally get the argument. And it's good to have differing opinions on everything. Yeah. That's what I like about Convert to Raid, is we try to have different opinions on everything so each person can kind of have a voice. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't know, man.
I get it.
In LFR, you want perps.
I get it. And I think that it makes sense to have that be the case. But maybe they limit it or somehow or whatever so that, it's like the end boss of I don't know. Whatever. It's all theory crafting at this point. It's all just like throwing crap out there and seeing what sticks, right? So we'll see as we go through the beta process and stuff like that. By the way, as far as timing goes for the beta, what are you guys thinking right now? Because they said nothing about the beta at all. So what do you guys think about what you saw as far as at BlizzCon, how far along they are? How far along they are with story and with these different things. What are you thinking for when we might be able to see the beta? Darius, what do you think?
I think we'll see a beta. I mean, based on what I saw at BlizzCon and the build they had there,
yeah,
I would say we're not going to see this game for another 2 years because that build was so unfinished. But
it was a little patchy. It was a little
optimistically, patchy. I would like to see a beta in February or March,
with a release of summer.
With the release of late spring, like
okay,
June,
so a really quick beta is what you're saying.
Yeah,
really quick beta. Koltrane, how about you?
Oof, it's the thing that gives me hope is that Mists of Pandaria, they release content faster than they've ever done before. Yeah. Content was churning out. In fact, players started to complain that there was too much content. It was coming out too quickly. So they really proved that point of saying, we want to get you content faster. So along with that, I'm assuming that also goes for expansion. I'm hoping. I agree. Yeah. I did play the beta build. It felt a little patchy. It needed some love. So, I mean, hopefully for me, beta January, maybe? Or at least to talk about it. How about this? How about they announce something that it'll be... But I think you're probably right. Yeah. February, March, maybe for beta.
I do think that they need to get it out before summer, though. They've never had...
Yes.
They've never really come out with new content during the summer, right?
I agree. It has to be before the summer, and you can't keep telling people faster content, and then give people 9 months on a raid tier.
Right. Exactly.
I think that classic thing that MMOs do, it'll like drop the same day some other MMO is being released. Like they were saying it in the
really?
Game Breaker chat. You know what I mean? Like when Elder Scrolls Online comes out, oh hey, here's the beta. That always happens in MMOs.
When EQ Next comes out, it's gonna be
That's right.
When the next thing comes out for EQ Next,
let's schedule it now.
Look out! Yeah, it's coming.
It's good though. Competition is good because the people that benefit are the gamers. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely. Hey, one thing before we get going, I guess, because I mean we're kind of towards the end here of our time. But one thing I do want to bring up that was kind of a sore point for a lot of people was that there's going to be no flight on Draenor until patch 6.1.
Woo!
So and the forums are, why do you always take flight away, Blizz? They're not taking it away.
I think this is great. I think it makes the world feel more epic, but I can see the other side of this where, and I have this problem too. I spent $15 on a flying mount that I can't use now.
Right.
How can they do that to me?
Right. You could still use it. You just can't fly.
Well, there's some, I have to go to Pandaria or something like that. I have to go someplace else.
If you want to fly with it, you could still use it.
Well, there's some mounts that don't work as ground mounts.
Oh, really?
That are flying mounts that I paid money for.
I suppose.
So why? How can they do that to me? How can they let me take something away from me? But I think it's great. I think no flying till 6.1. I kind of think Blizzard thinks flying mounts in general were a bad idea. But they can't go back on it now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And they're actually saying that this time around that it might be part of a larger quest, like a mini legendary almost. That we're supposedly going to be working on anyway. I think that's what Bashiok essentially said on the forums.
I'm okay with that.
Well, it's a funny thing. I find that some people are really upset about this. Like, what do you mean no flying till possibly 6.1? You know what I mean? Like, that's just crazy and blah, blah, blah. But I ask the gamers out there, what type of game do you want? There was an article on MMO Champion, I think it was linked to like a Blizz Pro article or something, where they said, do you want a game of convenience or do you want a game that's immersive and challenging and in some sense rewarding? Like what do you want? Do you want convenience or do you want, you know what I mean?
Convenience. I want convenience. I want to be able to smash face and I want to be able to jump in and out of combat as I want. Damn it.
I know, but there's a part of me that I like those days of Burning Crusade when you see the big giant Fell Reaver. Now they did introduce flying mounts in Burning Crusade, later.
That Fell Reaver.
I know.
I hate that Fell Reaver.
Right.
I still have nightmares.
There was that giant ogre with the cannon on its back. They showed it.
I still have nightmares about this. Every time I hear that noise, I'm like, what the hell?
Exactly. Right. But there's a part of me that I want to walk out of an inn and I want to look out and see this giant as high as I can see. You know what I mean? This giant walking around and be literally like, oh crap, I got to watch out for that. Versus, oh, I'll just hop on my flying mount and just fly over here and not have to worry about it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I kind of dig that immersion. It makes me feel like you're more part of the world. I enjoy seeing that. I like that level of danger. You know what I mean? So,
and it's
but
always,
people are really upset about it. It goes both ways.
Yeah, it was really weird. I think, and this is kind of a strange analogy for World of Warcraft, but I'm gonna try to convey it into real life. If you remember, like, I think for Miss Pandaria, when we first started seeing people fly, it was really strange, right? It was kind of like one of those things where you see somebody fly and you go, "Oh my, they're flying! What are they doing?" It kind of almost reminded me of, I mean, obviously this is an extreme example, but after 9/11, when planes started flying again, it was that weird type of thing where you're just like, oh wow, there's planes flying. And so it was kind not really, but kind of a similar feeling.
Just got real.
I know. Sorry to take you out of the game a little bit, but it was weird. It was weird, and I think that having that is kind of almost a little bit more awesome. To have it, you wait for a time, get used to running around, and then when people can fly again, you're like, oh my, they're flying! It's crazy. It could be cool. Could be really cool. So,
it's interesting. Palace in the chat room said the problem too is not being able to use my flying mounts. And for him also too breaks maybe some of that immersion. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of it too, being able to fly. But I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of challenge. I'm a fan of being a part of that world, and that means that a giant that is 18 stories tall I'm in fear of versus I'll just fly right around it, you know? So I'm personally okay with waiting till 6-1 for flying. I know there's a lot of very angry people that feel quite the opposite, so.
There are quite a few very vocal people in the forums, go figure. And remember,
I think the
1-800 number
band together, and whenever anything's announced, they're like, "All right, guys, this is going to be our stance on it."
The 1-800 number, by the way, is still open. So
operators are standing by.
Operators are standing by. But I think that does have to do it for the show, unfortunately. And we will pick this up. We will pick this up next week. Again, we're going to be doing the live shows on Gamebreaker, and we'll still have the audio podcast available to you guys as normal, so no big whoop there. But we do have to do some shout outs and maybe some 5 stars. Right, Dairies? What do we have for 5 stars?
Oh boy, we have 2 5 stars this week. We have ENT112 and Feldo.
So there we go. Thank you very much for your 5-star reviews on iTunes. Any shout outs this week, guys?
Yeah, I got a couple. I got Harmony from Furious Ascension on Area 52.
Yeah.
There's also a new kind of website thing going called knowyourrole.com, KNOW-roll-roll.com.
Yeah.
Basically, the purpose of the site is to connect regular and even good WoW players with top-level players in order to help improve their gameplay, get into raiding, etc. And the actual creator of the site is actually looking for high-end raiders for the site. So if you're a high-end raider that's looking to help out and teach some of these younger raiders on how to play their class, check out knowyourrole.com.
Cool.
They're looking for people, high-end players.
Very cool. Well, I know that I have a shout-out, and basically it's to everybody that was at Blizzcon. Everybody that was at Blizzcon. I had so much fun. I had such a blast. I loved meeting everybody. I loved talking with... I got to meet, like, Day 9 and Jesse Cox and Trade Chat. I got to meet her in person, finally. And so, I mean, and all the people that I got to meet finally, like from the guild, it was incredible. It was amazing. It was just such an incredible experience. I cannot put it into words even.
Everyone that I've met, that I shook hands with, that, posted on Twitter, everyone that we met, just amazing. I was blown away by the amount of people that showed up, that were fans, that knew who we were, that were just excited to be there for WoW, just everyone. It was just awe-inspiring. I mean,
it was mind-blowing.
It's a funny thing when their name comes to life, like Ashanka. Like, I know you, Ashanka, and Marconin, and everyone, Goldie's Lock, and I got to meet Demonic Rick, and It was just and Noxie Chu, who was doing the badges. She gives the greatest hugs, by the way.
I ran into Noxie, and then right next to her was the Shaw of Happiness. I'm like, what the hell?
Exactly.
It was so cool. And Angry Orc. Angry Orc, got to meet him. He's such a nice guy.
I didn't get to meet Angry Orc.
Oh, he's such a nice guy.
Awesome. He's so
cool.
funny.
He's so cool.
I want to give a shout out to Lou's service dog Dino for keeping my lap warm during some of the really cold panels.
Yes.
The AC's turned all the way up in there. He slept on my lap quite a bit, so shout out to Dino.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Devlin Red Sushi. The list goes on, man. It was amazing getting to meet everybody.
It was so cool to meet all the guildies, all the officers, everybody. It's always a good time, and thank you guys. And now I'm going to bail on the music.
You're just gonna have to bail out. Bail out of that.
Just gonna bail right out of that, and I'm going to jump into this one. There we go. Ah, yes. Well, we cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for, I know that a lot of people have sent in questions about stuff that we have not been able to get to this week. We will try to do that next week as we get more in depth on certain topics. But you can always email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. Sorry, way too many numbers there. You're going to have to figure it out for yourselves. Or you can follow us on Twitter. Isn't that right, Koltrane?
Yes, you can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Koltrane at _Koltrane. And you can follow Dairies at Board Mine.
Right, and if you can't spell our names, make sure to head over to converttoraid.com. That's where we host the show. That's where everything happens. GameBreaker.tv now has the video portion of this program, and so we cannot. It's a good thing to be over on GameBreaker, I think.
You can still go to converttoraid.com/live and watch.
Yep, you can still do that. It's all part of the. It's all part of the miracle of the internet. There we go. But we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders all over at converttoraid.com. Our show is available on Stitcher, BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of other places, as well as GameBreaker.tv. And that is going to do it for the show. We hope you guys had a good time. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week at our regular time at 11 a.m. Central. And for all the guys at Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.